Hi Gemini, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your September 2021 Mercury Retrograde reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Gemini be affected by September 2021 Mercury Retrograde? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh, that's a nice one to come out. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Now at the bottom is our inner self. No, at the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Hanged Man. We're definitely seeing things differently. And we have the Fool. We're on this new path. The 10 of Fire. Yeah, we're releasing so many barriers that have held us back. So much that has kept us back creatively, intuitively, professionally, but just also in the things that we love, in the ways that we want to move forward. We then have the Goddess of Air. Now we're represented by air sign energy in the zodiac. We are Geminis, right? So we are represented also by the swords in the minor arcana. Excuse me. Within the Witch's Wisdom deck, it's the air sign, airs, in the minor arcana, and by the Lovers in the major arcana. So here there's a sense of power to us. There's a sense of determination, focus, looking at the web being woven around us and the web that we ourselves are weaving for what we desire in life. Then we have the 10 of Cups. There's a completion of a cycle that's coming with Mercury Retrograde. And what we have to understand as Geminis is that Mercury Retrograde hits us harder than it hits most other signs because we're ruled by Mercury. So when it comes to anything happening to Mercury, we feel it. We're like, wow, this is intense, or wow, I don't understand, what's going on here, what's holding me back, what I need, why I'm feeling like there's something lacking. And that's because our Mercury is slightly out of alignment with ourselves. Then we have the 4 of Cups. There's actually a gift that's going to be coming in that we don't realize is even coming our way. In the public arena, we have the Wheel of Fortune, we have fate, we have our fates are changing. There's a sense of there's more here than meets the eye. And we have judgment. We're rising out of darkness. We're rising to this place of forgiveness, but also this place of power and intuition and understanding. And it's like, oh, but this is me. This is why I'm here. This is who I am. Now let's look at the energy we have to be mindful of during this time. What is the energy that Gemini needs to be mindful of during September 2021 Mercury Retrograde? Angels and spirit guides. It's the Princess of Pentacles. Now, it's making everything about money. money isn't a bad thing, and we need to be aware of money and also make sure that, money comes in and money goes out, because that's what keeps our world running. But we need to also be very mindful of being led surely by this idea of, I can acquire more, I can acquire more, I can acquire more. We need to step back into, where am I now? What do I want now? What do I desire now? Because we're even going to be pulled in by people who say, it should be like this or it should be like that. And it's like, no, but it should be for me. So during this Mercury retrograde, we need to be students of our money, but we also need to be wiser with our money than even usual. This is going to be a time where we can easily overspend, we can easily overindulge, and Spirit is going to say here, and also align ourselves with people who are like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's only a few dollars, and then that all adds up. Or it could be, even it's like, oh, you don't have that money, what's wrong with you, type of thing. We don't need that energy around us. We're going to be very sensitive during this time, because Mercury retrograde, again, just as Gemini's hits us intensely, but also we're building something beautiful. We're building something lasting. We're building something that says, but this is me. This is what I love. This is who I am. This is what I desire. Then we have our chakra energy. So let's see what that has to say. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. And we have inner strength. Now, I love the way this is depicted by kind of us being frozen, and then there being that sense of breaking out of where we were frozen and how we were held back and what had been denied to us, or where we had just thought, wow, I'm overwhelmed, like I can't move any further, or wow, I've made some mistakes, I can't be forgiven. This is going to be a time where it's like, of course you can. Of course you can. This is the solar plexus chakra. This is a time of being mindful of our gut, being mindful of the food we put into our bodies, being mindful of the exercise that we're taking, being mindful of what we desire from our lives and how we want to move forward. With our solar plexus chakra coming forward in our lives, and with us breaking out of this shell, there's this real sense of, my world is different. Now, with Mercury retrograde during this time, which is from the 27th of September to the 8th of October, it's like no other time that we've seen, because Mercury retrograde comes in and it brings breakdown of communication and technology. It brings nervousness and anxiety and delays in travels. Things just don't move as smoothly as we would like them to, or as we're used to them moving. And also we tend to lose things. We tend to be a little bit preoccupied and dwell on certain things. We can become a little bit obsessive during this time and dwell on the past. Things were better when it starts to become our motto. And we need to step out of that, Gemini, because that mindset is never good for anybody, but it's especially not good for us, because we are the communicators. We are the questioners, the seekers, the people who dive into the energy of the voice and what we want. And when Mercury retrograde, it comes 3 to 4 times a year. This year, it comes 3 times, and it lasts for about 24 days. But we also have to understand that there are 2 shadow periods before Mercury retrograde. The first shadow period started on the 6th of September, which brings us to this place where we start to kind of get an idea around something that's ruled by Mercury. Talking, thinking, speaking, contracts, travel. There's something that comes into our mind around this time, from the 6th of September to the 27th of September. There's something that comes up. And then that's going to be coming forward in the Mercury retrograde time. And we're going to be like, that's weird. That's weird. Why is this? What was this a prelude towards? We also have to be very mindful of not signing any contracts during Mercury retrograde, but also during the shadow period. Just be a little bit mindful of things. So there's also the sense, okay, I was jumping ahead, but there's also the sense of like, make sure you check everything before you send it out. Anything by post, anything by email, anything like posting anything online, make sure that you look at it, make sure that you kind of put it to the side. If it's an angry response or a heat of the moment thing, put it aside and let yourself look at it later, because that's going to be the best thing for you. Or have another pair of eyes look at it. But we also have to be very mindful during this time that everybody's going through a Mercury retrograde, and we can easily be egged on by other people through their words, through their energies, through what they desire, and they're going to be going through their own frustrations. So putting things aside, saying, you know what, I'll wait a day or 2, or maybe before I send that out, I'll go on a walk or a run, or whatever it is that I do to kind of, build up the good endorphins within me. Now, on the 27th of September, Mercury conjunct fixed star Arcturus, there we go, Arcturus comes into play. We also have the planetary alignment that was gone through on the full moon readings, so you can definitely look at those. I will try to remember to link them, but definitely look at those if you want to get the planetary alignments for this Mercury retrograde. I just don't want this reading to be absolutely chock full with so much information and so long that it becomes overwhelming. So with the Mercury conjunct fixed star Arcturus, this brings us opportunities of tremendous power. It brings us riches and esteem and determination. There's a sense of justice through power, and it's a sense of us rising out of darkness because we're embracing a change. We're seeing things differently, and it's justice out of power that is really driving us. The sense of there is more here than meets the eye. We're putting down that burden, the things that we have carried that were unfair for us to have carried. This can also promote with the fixed star Arcturus, can also promote lasting success if we stay in a positive mindset and higher energy vibrational mindset. Because if we don't, our negativity can overwhelm us. The sense of I should be doing more. The sense of I should be succeeding more. The sense of, if somebody looked at my life, they wouldn't see this as a success. You're not living for anybody else. You're living for yourself, Gemini. So take everybody else's preconceived notions and say, that's cool. That's cool. You can judge, you can hate, you can, spew your vile. I'm going to walk in my lane and I'm going to walk forward. Mercury retrograde is actually testing us to see, do you have the power of your voice, of your actions, of what you desire, to stand through the hate of others, to stand through the hurt and the pain and the negativity. Mercury is also going to be conjunct the fixed star Spica. Now, with Spica brings us success, renown, riches, fame, and it's like, wow, this is amazing. It also brings a sweet disposition, so we tend to be a little bit nicer. Now, know that everybody is going to be going through this Mercury conjunct Spica, so everybody's going to be feeling like, there's a sense of power, there's a sense of things aligning, which makes this Mercury retrograde unlike any other, because we're meeting these challenges, right? We're going through these hardships and these pains and these disappointments and this just like frustration that Mercury retrograde brings, but then we're also having this success that moves us. Now, remember that the success and the renown and the riches and the fame and the sweet disposition is going to be different for everybody. So if you have somebody who's really crabby, their sweet disposition can be that they don't snap at you all the time. They're not yelling all the time. So there's going to be the sense of knowing that everybody is different, and the extent of their blessings are all going to be different depending on where they are in their journey, how they are moving forward in their lives, how they are embracing things. This is also going to bring us a love for the arts and for science. But we also have to be, this can also be, and we have to be aware of this, that this can also be hard on us, on those of us who have a more innocent approach to life, who aren't sitting there scheming and, Machiavellian, desires in the back type of thing. What we have to understand is that this star aligns us with power, and if we aren't the type of people who are like, okay, success at all costs, we can find this to be a little bit of a challenging time, and to sit there and to say, maybe I'm not as interested in playing these games as everybody else is. It also brings us above average intuition and psychic abilities, so that's a really interesting kind of like sidestep to the Machiavellian power that comes forward, this sense of I'm going to create this big kind of like puppeteer thing and see what happens if I say this to this person or that to that person. That's a bit too much. But when it brings us this above average intuition and psychic abilities, it's like, oh, okay, I can step into the spiritual aspect of myself. I can step into this power, which is absolutely played off of the full moon in Pisces, which we're still taking that energy during this time, because remember, the energy of the full moon in Pisces lasts for like 2 weeks after the full moon, and it brings us to the sense, and it lasts longer, but the real intense power of it lasts for 2 weeks. This brings us into a sense of like, oh yeah, I can walk forward this way. I can balance my spiritual and my practical really well. There's also this sense of this androgyny to us, this androgynous air. It's like, we don't care. It's like there just has to be this balance to me, and that's what I'm focusing on. It also brings us into spiritual alignment and this kind of like ambivalence to everything else. So we have to be mindful of that. We also have to be mindful of not to be like with somebody like, oh, you can handle my finances, you can handle this, I'll just, go along my merry way. So we have to be mindful of that too, really being aware of things, having things planned out. This is going to be a great time for scientists, for writers, for artists, for people who are creating and innovative. This is going to be a spectacular time, even though we're going to find that things don't work as smoothly as we would like them to, even though we find that like things can be a little bit more challenging. But it starts to change the way that we look at anything and everything. And it starts to open up a road and a path, and we're like, well, why the heck not? Now, Mercury stationary direct begins on the 18th of October. Yes, on the 18th of October, and moves and all the way into the 2nd of November. So this happens at the end of Mercury retrograde. We have stationary direct, Mercury stationary direct coming into play. And what it brings is like this shadow power. It's the shadow period once again of Mercury retrograde. And the planetary alignment during this time is going to be Mercury sextile Venus, which brings this charming, soothing energy that makes it a good time for following our love and for falling in love and for embracing our hearts. And it's a time to follow peace and to set down roots. And we really see that being astoundingly important to us with the Ten of Cups. There's a sense of like, I want something stable and sturdy, and I want to create this. We feel this in the Mercury retrograde. We can be feeling this, well before the 6th of September, when the first shadow period comes into play, and we're kind of like looking at things through thinking, speaking, contracts and travel that align us with the Mercury energy, but also start to align us with ourselves. And it comes out rather big during Mercury retrograde on the 27th of September. Now, Mercury is going to be trine Saturn, which brings this determination and achievement-oriented air. And it's like, I can tackle anything I need to tackle. I can move forward and I can be focused on long-term projects and have this foresight for things. So that's going to be really cool. Now, the stars aren't going to be quite as beautiful as they were in Mercury direct. So we have Mercury conjunct the fixed star Maitreya. Maitreya? Yeah, that's how you say it. Matrix. There we go. If you come to this energy, if you come to this, what is this? This stationary Mercury direct, if you come to it with negative energy, this star will absolutely pull you down. All right. So if you come to it weighed down and burdened, and during Mercury retrograde, you haven't freed yourself from those burdens, you can find this making you rather macabre and melancholy, hasty, and impulsive. It's like, I just need a change. I just need to become something better. It can also really align us with the darker aspects of things. We can become very lured in by the darker, more macabre aspects of human nature and people and everything like that. So do be mindful about that. Make sure that you're keeping your energy vibration high from the 18th to the 2nd, even if it means that you come home after work and you put on, these really silly comedies and you just laugh to raise your energy vibration, or you go out and you walk in nature, connecting yourself with the earth, barefoot walking in barefoot shoes, whatever it is that you need to do to really feel the energy grounding you during this time is going to be imperative. Now, this is also because we have Mercury conjunct the fixed star Parima. Now, Parima is really, really cool because it can give us this sense of this understanding of the underhanded side of people during this time, right? So during Mercury conjunct the fixed star Parima, we can see everybody's Machiavellian, inclinations. We can see everybody's planning and scheming, and we can be like, oh, I see you. Like, what the heck are you wasting your energy for? Like, this is ridiculous type of thing. We can't be drawn into it. We have to stand apart. Because if we don't keep our energy high, what will happen is we'll start to worry. We'll start to see plots and schemes everywhere, which, yes, everybody's plotting, everybody's scheming, everybody wants to get ahead, but it's not necessarily always going to be in a bad way. And so we have to step back and say, I need to follow my energy. I need to follow my understanding. I need to understand that this is a change of seasons. This is a change of power for me. And the fact that we have, and I just noticed this within the cards, we have the number 10 repeated 3 times. This is a Mercury retrograde that changes everything for us. It really starts to change the story of how we're presenting ourselves, how we're moving forward, what we're going after. The Hangman starts off the story with, you're seeing things differently. You do not see everything and the things the same way as everybody else. And you know what? That's spectacular. That is a gift. Not to be walking around one of the sheep to say, it has to be just like this. To say, no, there's something more here that meets the eye. There's something more to this than I have ever realized. And what starts off during this time is we're going to think, I'm wrong. I am so wrong. Look at everybody else. Look at the way everybody sees things. Look at, the power that they have, the insight that they have. I absolutely have to be doing things wrong. And what Spirit is saying here is that you're not. Just because you're not falling into the crowd does not mean that you're doing things wrong. So there's a sense of embracing our own power, our own insight, knowing that, yes, I'm going to see things differently than everybody else, but that's okay. And really stepping into that power, because it leads us to having the strength to be the fool. Having the strength to have people mock us, not understand us, to move forward in a way that people think, oh, what the heck are you going to do with that? Like, how are you going to become anything with this path? Like, with this mentality, with this dream, with this desire. And the fact of the matter is, anybody who is an innovator, anybody who, is a hero of their own story, is first a fool. And that is so important for us to understand. And it moves us here to say, I'm going for it. I'm taking that risk. Be mindful during this time not to risk your money, okay? Not to take unnecessary risks when it comes to your finances. That's just something Spirit's saying. It can be different for all of us. It might not be that anything happens, but it just is like, watch, mind your P's and Q's, watch things, make sure that everything's lining up, okay? And take the risks that involve your time, your energy, your innovation, but don't necessarily sink a whole bunch of money into it and think, okay, that's going to make it better, because it might not. It just might not. It's like, see what you can do with what you already have. And Spirit's really being strong about stating that. It moves us then to the 10 of fire, the 10 of wands. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it's putting down a whole bunch of burdens. It's saying, I'm done, enough. I deserve more than to just see the dirt on my shoes as I walk forward. The 10 of a fire is this illumination of insight and ideas and passion and beauty, and the sense of, I can walk my path. I can walk my path. I can move forward. I can walk into the darkness and not just be closed in by the shadows around me. Not to only see the shadows, not to only see the monsters or the fears or the doubts, but to know that within the shadows comes this place where the mind can create. This place where we can open up doors. This place where you can see the cardinal in the background. This splash of color, this splash of inspiration. And it brings us then to the goddess of air, this sense of, I'm opening up my voice, I'm opening up my words, I'm opening up my creativity and my time and my effort, and I'm creating something that will not last forever. And that's a hard concept for us to understand. We want, and human beings have wanted to do this forever. I mean, we look at the pyramids, we look at other buildings predating the pyramids. We want to make this big, long-lasting monument and slab our names on it and say, look, I will be here forever. And this is saying, no, step forward more gently and more quietly. Step forward into this heart and into this essence of our beings and what we desire, and create something that might be finite, that might, take us into ourselves and have us looking at ourselves so differently and so powerfully and so intuitively that we don't understand where it's going to lead us, but we understand that I have to be on this journey. I have to open up this door. I have to say yes instead of saying no. And so as we do this, it brings us to the 10 of Cups. And I love this depiction of the 10 of Cups because it has the rainbow ending at the cottage. It's not a castle. It's not a McMansion. It's not, something over the top. It's a cottage in between the mountains. And so here, what it's saying, and what I always see when I look at this card, is this old Nordic saying of better to be king of a cottage than servant in a castle. In our lives, during this time, and one could argue forever, we always strive for more and more and more. We always say, oh, I'll be happy when. What if we started embracing happiness? What if we started looking at what is truly important to us? Because Mercury Retrograde turns everything on its head. It has us looking at communicative things in a very different way, has us getting frustrated with things, has us feeling overwhelmed, has us, just thinking, at times. And so here, with the 10 of Cups, it's like, well, look at what you love. Look at what's intrinsically important to you. Look at the connection with another human being. Look at the children playing. Look at the inner child within us playing and exploring and becoming. It brings us to the 4 of Cups. It brings us to this place during this Mercury retrograde where we start to see this beauty and this love coming in. We start to see these blessings coming in. We're looking one way, and they're going to be coming in from a completely different direction. And we're going to be thinking, is this something that is, right for me? Is this something that I can handle? It can actually feel like another responsibility, and we can think, wow, is this responsibility something I need on my plate? Can I walk away from it? It's going to be something that we might not be able to walk away from. And we're going to see later on down the road, maybe not instantaneously, maybe it takes months or even years later, that this has prepared me. This has prepared me for something and blessed me in a way that opens up a door I never thought could be opened, that has given me a gift that I didn't see as a gift, but changes the whole course of the way that I move forward, what I'm going after, what I desire for my life. And it brings us then to the Wheel of Fortune. During this Mercury retrograde, we can feel like we're on a roller coaster ride, this mad, crazy roller coaster ride, and think, oh my gosh, make it stop. That's why we have to be very aligned with higher energy vibration. We have to be very aligned with being in the moment with us. If we need to do something physical, again, we can do exercising, but also I find the Wim Hof method of ending a shower with, ice cold water is absolutely beautiful in putting you right in the moment, right in the here, right in the now, and taking you completely out of your head. You can do so with ice baths, things like that. It makes us be in the here and the now. Work up to it if you're interested. Don't do it at all if you're not. But there's going to be this sense with the Wheel of Fortune that things are changing, and we have to be present. We have to be present for the change and not just think that the change is just going to sweep us away and land us in the place that we want to be, because sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just everything's changing around us, and we can be so stubbornly caught in I'm not moving that it leaves us behind. So here we're going to see everything changing. It's kind of like, well, why not step into that change? Why not, instead of fighting our quirkiness or fighting our avant-gardeness or fighting, the fact that maybe we just don't fit in with everybody else, and that's okay. Letting us shine. The Wheel of Fortune is like, embrace a new season. Embrace a new power of being you. And then it moves us into judgment. It moves us into this place where we rise out of darkness. We rise out of hurt and pain and disappointment and anger and despair and doubt and fear. We rise out of the darkness that, just simply living can put us in. And we start to rise into the power of ourselves, into our intuition, into what we desire, into the sense of being blessed. And it then moves us to the energy we have to be mindful of during this time, which is lovers. We have to be mindful of getting in our own way, because again, Mercury retrograde, as a person ruled by Mercury, this messes with us. We can become too self-indulgent. We can become not indulgent at all. We can become too rigid. We can talk about everything and give all our secrets away. We can not talk about anything and keep all our secrets to ourselves. We can, it's just going to be one extreme and then another. We can fall completely into lust and, whatever feels good, go for it type of thing. And then we can go into complete sensory. I don't remember the word. Right now it's eluding me. But denial, just this absolute denial of self and saying, no, you can't. No, you can't. There needs to be a balance. There always needs to be a balance when it comes to us, Gemini. And so here with the lovers coming in, it's also saying, don't forget to fall in love. Don't forget that it's you falling in love, not falling in love with somebody else, not falling in love if, this is right or that is right. Letting love surround you, because that is when you're at your best. That is when we are absolutely at our best, Gemini, to say, I walk in love, I breathe love, and I am accepted by love. Saying something nice, embracing a beautiful energy, looking at things and saying, okay, I can look at, the muckiness of the world, and that's great, if you want to lower your energy vibration, but I can also choose to rise higher. I can also choose to be that ray of light within the world that we just need, that sense of beauty and shine and brilliance. And then moves us into our chakra energy, and that's inspiration. We need to embrace the inspiration of this time. We need to embrace the inspiration of ourselves. This is this sacral chakra, which is a complex chakra. It has the negativity of this life and past lives held within it. It also has our sexual energy and our creative energy. So if we have baggage, it hinders us. It can hinder us sexually. It can hinder us sensually. It can hinder us creatively. And here we're being inspired to let our creativity shine forward, to let our dawn come up, to let us embrace something magnificent. It then moves us to our subconscious rooted energy, and this is the moon. Now, before, Spirit said, pay attention to the full moon in Gemini, even though, the full moon has passed when Mercury begins retrograde, because it's on Mercury begins retrograde on the 27th. The full moon is on the 20th. So here it's understand the power of Pisces energy around you. Understand the power of the ebb and flow and change in the mercurial nature of the moon that calls to us, because it's mercurial. It's taken from the word Mercury. So here there is the sense of, I need change. I need inner wisdom. I need the quiet of the night to guide me forward, or just the inspiration of the place between the chaos of the day, the place between the brilliance and the light and the intensity. I need that quiet, just like we need the place between words. We need the place between people, the place between trees. Like, we need that place of just energy and intention. It then moves us to our subconscious inner self. And that's the Ace of Earth. That's God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, handing you a gift of prosperity, success, bounty, the seeds to plant, to grow something magnificent, and to say, this is what I'm bringing forward into my world. This is what I desire. As much as we have to be mindful about money, about our gifts, about our talents, when it comes to financial things, when it comes to what we value as much as money, Spirit is also saying here, I'm handing you a gift. I'm handing you a powerful, powerful gift that comes subconsciously. Don't turn your back on it. Look at it. See how you plant it. See how it grows within your life, within your soul, within yourself, and how it moves you forward. It then brings us to the subconscious emotional aspect of this time, and it's the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is absolutely beautiful because the veil is being lifted from our eyes. As much as Mercury retrograde would like to wrap us in lies, wrap us in doubts and fears and chaos and, making confusion out of just daily communication, the High Priestess has her eyes open. So this isn't going to be as emotionally devastating as, well, maybe devastating is a bit of a dramatic word, but emotionally intense as it will be for others. It will be an intense time, again, because we're ruled by Mercury, and Mercury affects us tremendously. Mercury retrograde, Mercury direct, Mercury, trine whatever, Mercury conjunct, every aspect of Mercury has an effect on us. The High Priestess says, I see it, and I see me. I see the lies that I was wrapped in before. I see the lies that people wrap themselves in. I see the masks that people wear and the layers upon layers of costumes and desires and wants and needs and hurts and pains and chains and doubts. I see it. And it can become overwhelming, absolutely. But this is also the fact that with Mercury conjunct the fixed star Spica, that our psychic abilities, our intuition is really just coming into its own. And it's like, oh, okay, I see. And sometimes we might need to tell this to kind of calm down, like, take a step back. I can't see so much because it has become overwhelming to me. But in our hearts, oh man, we have this knowledge. We have this instinct. We have these ideas. And it moves us to the, subconscious public arena. And that's the Page of Cups. It says here, playfulness. To be able to embrace playfulness is to start to feel safe within our lives. Human beings do not play unless we are safe. The Page of Cups is also water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, playing very intensely to the full moon in Pisces. There is a sense subconsciously of learning of our emotions, learning of our desires, learning of our wants, learning of our needs, learning of how we embrace and express our very existence. And as we embrace this with the Page of Cups, as we open up our hearts, as we move forward in our souls, as we know what we desire, we become students of what we love, and that becomes the blueprint for how we move forward in this earth. Mercury retrograde makes distractions, makes things a little bit more chaotic than they need to be, makes us kind of want to run our mouths before we think, so we have to be really mindful of that. But it also gives us this place of stepping into what we really want, because we're looking at everything that aggravates and irritates and frustrates us. And so as we step into what we really want, we start to become students of our souls and our hearts and ourselves. All right, Gemini. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the beauty of this Mercury retrograde. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Gemini, and may you have a blessed Mercury retrograde.